Welcome back. In this video, we are going to be discussing about aquaculture. Aquaculture is a very important topic because it is going to involve the rearing of economically important aquatic organisms. Okay, so aquatic organisms like fishes, prawns, edible oyster, all these are going to be cultured using aquaculture technique. Okay, so now in this video we are going to be discussing elaborately about aquaculture. Okay, so there are two different types of aquaculture. One is the freshwater culture and the other one is the marine water aquaculture. Okay, so this is basically this classification. The two types are based on where the aquatic organisms are going to be cultured. So if the aquatic organisms are going to be cultured in fresh water, then we will call it as freshwater aquaculture. And if it is going to be cultured in marine water, then it is known as the marine aquaculture. So what is freshwater aquaculture? What is marine aquaculture? Freshwater is nothing but the sources of fresh water are ponds, rivers, lakes, dams. So in the fresh water, the salt content is very less. Okay, but marine is not like that. Marine water aquaculture is a culture which is done in the salt water. Okay, so the salinity of the water is high. Alright. So when we talk about freshwater aquaculture, the aquatic organisms can be grown in ponds, lakes, dams, rivers, and all the freshwater bodies. Okay. So examples of fishes which can be grown in freshwater culture are tilapia, carps. Carps such as rohu, katla, and mrigal can be grown in freshwater culture, and then catfish also can be grown in freshwater culture. Then moving on to marine culture, I already told you what is marine culture. Marine culture is also known as mariculture. Okay, so aquatic organisms like shrimp, oyster, finfish, and salmon. All these can be grown using marine aquaculture technique. Okay, now let's move on to actually under aquaculture. In this lesson, we will be discussing about two topics. One is fish culture and the other one is prawn culture. So in this video, we are going to be discussing only about the fish culture. Okay, so the next topic that we are going to be discussing is fish culture. So fish culture is known as pisciculture. Okay, so pisces means it is the culturing of the you know what is pisces, right? You must have already studied. So pisciculture is nothing but the process of culturing the fishes. So there are 5 different types of fish culture. Okay, so the first one is called as the extensive culture. So let's see what is extensive culture. So in case of extensive culture, the fishes are going to be grown on a large area. Okay, so the fishes are grown in a large area. Okay, and then the fishes which are grown in extensive aquaculture is going to be provided with the natural feed. Okay, so natural feed in extensive culture, the fishes are cultured on a large area and then the natural feed is going to be provided to the fishes for them to grow. And then in extensive fish culture, if you see, the density, the stock density is low. So what is the meaning of stock density? Stock density means the amount of or the number of fishes which are grown in that particular area. Okay, so that is only stock density. So stock density in extensive culture is low, which means not a large number of fishes are not going to be put in a small area. Is that clear? It's a large area, and then how much ever fish can be grown in that pond, only that will be grown in extensive fish culture. Then the next one is called intensive culture. So when we talk about intensive culture, in intensive culture, the fishes are grown in a small area. So the fishes are going to be grown in a small area, and then the fishes are going to be provided with artificial feed. Okay, so that they attain their size at a much earlier rate. So in intensive fish farming, in intensive fish culture, artificial feed is going to be given for the growth of the fish. And the next important thing is the density of there is high stock density. Okay, in a small area a lot of fish is going to be grown. Okay, so the stock density is going to be high when we talk about intensive fish culture, and in case of extensive fish culture the stock density is going to be low. So I hope you understood what is extensive and intensive fish culture. Moving on to monoculture. When we talk about monoculture, in monoculture only one type of fish is going to be grown. Okay, so a specific type of fish will be chosen and only that fish will be grown in that place. Okay, so you know the word mono means one. Okay, so only one type of fish will be cultured and that is known as monoculture. So the next topic is polyculture. Okay, so what is polyculture? You know, poly means many. So in case of polyculture, more than one type of fish is going to be grown in the pond. Okay, so that is only known as polyculture. So here for polyculture, the person who is going to be performing polyculture must be really careful while choosing the fishes. Okay, because we cannot have the fishes competing for the same nutrient. Okay, so there are different places where the fishes will feed. Some fishes will feed deep down the water body, some will be in the middle and some will be feeding on the top of the water bodies. Okay, so the nutrient, the mode of nutrient which a fish is going to take has to be different. Okay, if two fishes are going to compete for the same nutrient, then the growth of the fishes will be affected. So in case of polyculture, there must not be much competition between the two types of fishes which are going to be inoculated in that culture pond. Okay, then the last one is the integrated fish farming. So in the integrated fish farming, what is going to be happening is the fishes are going to be grown along with livestock or with agricultural crops. Okay, that is in integrated fish farming, the fishes are either grown with pigs, poultry, ducks and all of those things, or it is either grown with agricultural crop. Okay, so integrated fish farming is very effective in order to recycle the waste which is coming from the agriculture as well as animal husbandry. So what is integrated fish farming? In integrated fish farming, what is going to happen is the fishes are cultured along with pigs, ducks, poultry and all those things, or they are cultured along with the agricultural crops. The main reason for doing this is because the waste which is coming from the agricultural fields or from the poultry and all of those things will be recycled. Okay, and then the amount of water which is going to be used for the fishes as well as the crop is going to be reduced. Okay, so consumption of water is less as well as the waste is going to get recycled. So that is integrated fish farming. So I hope you understood whatever we have discussed in our pisciculture. So next, let's move on to the types of ponds for growing the fishes. Okay, under that the first one is the breeding pond. So this is very important. So let's see what we are going to be doing in the breeding pond. So in the breeding pond, a male and a female fish will be taken. So this symbol is for male and this symbol is for female. So you put a circle and arrow on top, that is for male. You put a circle, put a plus sign below the circle and that is the symbol for female. Okay. So in the breeding pond, what they are going to be doing is a male and a female fish will be taken. Okay. And then what happens is, you know that the male and the fishes, basically when we talk about the fishes fertilization takes place externally. So what is the meaning of external fertilization? External fertilization is nothing but where the fusion of the male and the female gamete will take place outside the body of the female. Okay. So first what happens is in a breeding pond, a female and a male fish has to be taken. And then after that what happens is, first the female will lay the eggs. Okay. So the female will release the eggs first. And then what happens is, after the female releases the eggs, on top of that the male will come and it will fertilize the eggs. Okay, then the male will release the sperms. So if these are the eggs which are produced by the female, the male will release the sperm on these eggs. Okay. Then what happens? Once the sperm is released over the eggs, these eggs are going to become fertilized. Okay. So the eggs become fertilized. So what is going to happen to this fertilized egg? These fertilized eggs are going to be developing into the young fishes. Okay. So this is the breeding pond. In breeding pond, the male and the female fish are going to be allowed to breed. Alright. So now what is going to happen to the fertilized fish? The fertilized fish will now be transferred onto the next pond, which is called as the hatching pit. So now let's see what happens in the hatching pit. So the fertilized egg, after that it will get transferred onto the hatching pit. So in the hatching pit, what happens is the fertilized eggs will hatch out. Okay. So the fertilized eggs will hatch out. Now the next thing is these hatchlings. Okay. So from the fertilized egg, the young fishes are going to be coming out, right? So those young fishes will be called as the hatchlings. So what happens is, in the hatching pit, after the hatchlings have hatched out, it will be taken and it will be transferred into the nursery pond. Okay. So we cannot have all this happening in one pond. It's not like that. After one step is completed, we have to take that and get transferred onto the next pond. Okay. So after the hatchlings are formed, then the hatchlings are going to be transferred onto the next pond, which is known as the nursery pond. So in the nursery pond, what is going to be happening is, these hatchlings are going to be developing into what is called as the fry. Okay. So from the fertilized egg, hatchlings are coming out, and those hatchlings will further develop, and we will call that further developed hatchlings as fry. Okay. So inside the nursery pond, the hatchlings are going to be staying for 60 days. So for approximately 60 days, the hatchlings are going to be kept in the nursery pond. So in this 60 days, what has to happen is, the hatchlings will reach a size of 2 to 2.5 centimeters in length. So once the hatchling reaches this size, then we will not call it hatchling anymore. Instead, we will call it as a fry. Okay, it is supposed to be called as a fry. So what is happening? The hatchlings are getting converted into what is called as a fry in about 60 days time. Okay. So this after 2 to 7 days is the duration during which the hatchlings are transferred onto the nursery pond. So don't get confused. So hatchlings are going to be transferred 2 to 7 days after it has hatched out into the nursery pond, and then once it has entered the nursery pond, it will grow for about 60 days, and during this time it will reach a size of 2 to 2.5 centimeters in length, and that will be called as a fry. Then next what happens is, the fry will be transferred onto the rearing pond. So in the rearing pond, the fry is going to be there for about 3 months. So in this 3 months time, what is going to be happening is, it is going to develop into fingerlings. Okay, so it's going to develop into fingerlings. So in this 3 months time, it has to reach a size of 10 to 15 centimeters in length. Okay, so from 2 to 2.5 in the rearing pond, it has to reach a size of 10 to 15 centimeter. Okay, so for that it will take a longer duration, right? So the fish will be spending more time in the rearing pond only. In the rearing pond only, the fish is going to be growing for about 3 months to attain a size of 10 to 15 centimeters. Okay. Then next, after the fingerlings are formed. So I hope you know what are fingerlings. From the fry, which was 2.5 centimeter in length, it will develop the next pond which is known as the stocking pond. So in the stocking pond, the fingerlings will be reared to a marketable size. So marketable size is nothing but a size with which after which we can sell it. Okay, so it has to reach a size after which it can be sold for a good market value. So that is only going to happen in the stocking pond. The fingerlings will develop into a marketable size. Okay, so what is happening? The fertilized egg is getting transported into the hatching pond. In the hatching pond, the fertilized eggs are hatching out, and that fertilized eggs which are hatched out, we will call it as a hatchling. And then these hatchlings will be then transferred onto the nursery pond, and in the nursery pond, it is going to be developing into what is called as the fry. Okay, then this fry will then be transferred onto the rearing pond, and in the rearing pond, the fry is going to be developing into the fingerlings, which is about 10 to 15 centimeter in length, and these fingerlings will be then taken to the next pond, which is the stocking pond, and in this pond only the fingerlings are going to be reaching the maximum size after which it can be sold for economic purposes. Okay, so this is about the different types of ponds which are utilized for pisciculture. So now, why are fishes so important? Why are fishes so important in the economic based aspect of it? The reason is because fishes are a very rich source of nutrient. It is because of their nutritional value only fishes are always on the great demand. Okay, so the first is the proteins. Fishes are very rich source of protein. It has got amino acids like lysine as well as methionine, and then it has got minerals like calcium, phosphorus, iron, potassium, sodium and magnesium. Okay, and then it has also got vitamin like vitamin A, D and vitamin B complex. Okay, so the nutritional value which is there in fish is very high. That is why you know that most of your parents will advise you to consume fish. Okay, so this is about pisciculture and the importance of fishes. So I hope you understood what we have discussed in aquaculture. Now next video we will be discussing about prawn culture. So thank you so much for watching.